Hello and welcome to the Temu D2 review. If you stick it out to the end of this video, things get a little crazy. This fixed blade D2 knife was advertised on Temu recently, so I grabbed it for $14 out of sheer curiosity. As you can see, the knife is currently only $12.81. It's a good looking knife, and if it's even marginally well heat treated D2 steel, it is the deal of the century. Now, it looks great right out of the box, but fit issues manifest pretty quickly. The handles and tang are not flush. And the handles are the same size, but offset vertically from one another side to side due to fastener holes not being matched up. The sheath actually feels solid at this point, and it grips the knife pretty well. The edge and the spine are straight, and the grind is even smooth and even on both sides. Let's drop the sheath from hip height a few times and see what happens. So at 14 drops, it's broken. I've put it in the freezer to see how well it will tolerate cold weather. And with some force, the sheath breaks here. That's more than a little force, but not a lot. So the sheath is not as durable as most people would probably prefer, but at $12.82, let's be real. It's not mil-spec. Out of curiosity, let's see what's under the hood here.
So the middle Allen screw stripped, so I had to drill it out. It's a skeletonized handle. This is fine. This is good. These were flush, they fit up well.
Okay, but after the sheath broke with modest impact, let's see if the handles hold up. Hopefully they have some durability. And they hold up great for $12.81, 82 cents. I'm not sure what else you'd be looking for here. Let's start testing our blade by looking at how hard it is. The HRC is important in knife performance and edge retention.
60 digs in. 55 starts, but then skates. I'm going to say this is like 56, 57 range.
Properly used files do a pretty good job of checking hardness, but I bought a new hardness tester. Let's see what it says.
So it pegs that between 56 and 57. I think it's probably closer to 56, but doesn't make sense for D2.
An HRC of 56 or 57 would be typical of a cheap Chinese kitchen cutlery stainless steel, so no, it doesn't bode well for this being D2. Let's get it sharpened again to its original profile of an all-inclusive edge of 40 degrees and check it on Cecil rope for edge retention.
This is 20. All right, we just finished 190 cuts. Yeah, I'm going to call it there. That's the most used area, and it's getting a little dull. This other area, which is probably not used quite as much, is still pretty good. But 190.
190 is much better than I thought we would see at this HRC and what I think is cheap Chinese stainless. Let's do some striking and see what happens.
Yeah, it still does fine with paper. Well, you know what? There it goes. It's cutting about 80% of the hairs. Let's keep going. Down to about half the hairs now. Still about half hairs. Still, it's not really cutting hairs at this point. Let's see if it cuts paper. Hangs up in a few spots. Mostly cuts paper.
We got about halfway through that 2x4 and are starting to see some significant rolls. We can get a better look under the microscope. This result is better than junk steel, but still not very good.
Alright, so I've whacked on the handle material. It's not bad. The question now is, what steel is this? One of the reasons I took the handle off was not only to see what's underneath, but now I want to heat treat the knife to D2 specifications. If it hardens up, it's D2 or something like it, some sort of tool steel. You know, if not, we'll try to harden it with a different heat treat regimen to see if we can get it harder than its current form to see if it'll perform better.
Heat treating D2 takes high temperatures for prolonged soaks, so I'm going to put some anti-scaling compound on here to help prevent scale, oxidation, and decarburization the best we can.
It's on a slow ramp to 1100 degrees where it equalizes, then faster heat to 1450 for more equalization, then 1825 equalizes again. Then we're gonna sort of plate quench it, the handle at least, and let the rest of it air cool. And that should harden it up, temper at 300 degrees so we keep it nice and hard. Hopefully if it's D2, that'll bring it to about 62, 63.
You can air quench or plate quench D2. I'm going to do just sort of a hybrid of both, mostly because I want it to stay straight. I don't want it to warp during an air quench.
It's out of the tempering oven. There's not really any oxidation, maybe a little down here, but I didn't cover that area with the clay, with the anti-scale compound. So but the rest of it looks pretty good. I'm going to still take some material off on the grinder, on the handle where we're going to test it on the hardness tester and on the blade. And I'm going to remove probably 3 or 4 millimeters here at the edge and then rebevel it. Just because I want to make sure there's no decarburized edge that we're dealing with.
A decarburized edge would not get as hard as the rest of the steel and it wouldn't be a fair test. So we've got to make sure that we remove all that sort of surface material that is likely to have slightly less carbon in it and therefore be less hard. To make the test a little more valid.
Some areas it digs in others.
I'm having to check this several times because the results are in a wide range, anywhere from 58 to 61.5 with the portable tester. Now maybe there are soft spots from not getting rid of all the decarburized steel. I'm not really sure, but ultimately I think this comes out right around 60. This time I'm going to sharpen the knife to 17 degrees per side. Let's see how that does. I think that'll do a lot better than the 19 and 21 degrees it came at.
All right, 5:30. I'm going to call it there. All right, so if I had known the edge was going to last that long, I would have put the handles back on for that test because I tore up my finger pretty bad. We had 180, 190 cuts out of the box, and now we have over 500 cuts on sisal rope. How is that possible? Well, we've hardened the steel from 56, 57 range up to 60-ish, and we've reformed the edge to a geometry that is much more suited for slicing and cutting. It came with a thick geometry, a chopping geometry that didn't match the knife size at all, so he made it about 15th thou right behind the edge, and much thinner than the original. We put on a 17-degree per side angle, 34 all inclusive, much narrower than the 40-degree angle it came with, 19 and 21 per side. For reference, on the rope test, I get about 320 to 400 cuts out of my knives made from simple forging steels like W2, 1084, 1095, 80 CRV. I just tested a production knife made of 1066 that did 280 cuts. So this knife's original result of 190 was marginal at best, but not unacceptable for this price range, and actually is better than I personally expected. The fact that it just did over 500 cuts after better hardening and better slicing geometry is shocking to me. If it had come out of the box with that performance, it would be like the fixed blade deal of the decade. That edge retention is very D2 tool steel in my book. Again, I don't know that that's what this is. I'm not saying this is D2, but that performance is better than simple high carbon steels and well into the tool steel range in my mind. So I'm just blown away. Why did they leave so much performance on the table with this steel? I don't know, but I think if we checked toughness, we may find an answer. I'm hoping we don't. I hope that there's just really a lot of room for improvement with the heat treat in here and that it's still going to retain its toughness.
Well, here I am checking it out. We're going to baton against the grain through some wood and see what happens. Gone halfway through and flipped the 2x4, so it holds up pretty well. At this point, it's still slicing paper pretty nice. Yeah, unfortunately, the back nine really take a toll on the edge here.
It's interesting, it's still shaving hairs, but it's got some significant nicks in there that are causing it to hang. Let's go look at it up close.
Under the microscope, you can see that the rolling and denting is significant. To be fair, we did subject it to more stress than we did when we were chopping earlier, and it did go halfway through this block without any significant issues.
So although it still shaved some hairs, there were some significant snags in paper cutting that couldn't be fixed with stropping. So if you remember, we started to see those rolls appear after chopping against the grain in the knife's original configuration, and after batoning against the grain at a narrower sharpening angle and all that stuff, higher HRC, the rolls are just even more pronounced. So that does not feel like D2 at 60 HRC to me, but what do you guys think? Now, you have to note that these aren't really chips, they are rolls. And I believe if you alter the edge geometry further, you could get a blade here that still cuts rope over 400 times, maybe around 400, and has a better toughness than my version, creating something that performs much better out of the box than the original version. So I still think that they left some stuff on the table here with performance. And if you could do that type of compromise in a $14 knife, it would still be an outstanding knife, just a crazy good knife. As it is now, look, it's a beater. It's Temu's first knife. It's the knife you take to the hunting cabin with 6 other guys. It's a decoy knife, so if it gets stolen, you don't care. In the meantime, your real skinner's tucked into your bib. That's to me what it is now. And at $14, this it is what it is. You can't rag on it too hard. A quality D2 fixed blade starts around $50 or $60 with or without a sheath like that. So what do you guys think? Have a good one.